Now, if you've already looked at some of the files provided with the course, or maybe you've already done your own packet capture and collection, then you've seen that most of these files are stored in either a PCAP or PCAP-NG format, because those are the standard formats that Wireshark and a lot of other tools use for saving and storing packet capture data. This is pretty much the industry standard across all packet capture aware tools. And this really evolved from a previous format, which is the .cap file. We moved from .cap to .pcap, and from .pcap to .pcap-ng. Now, PCAP files, traditionally, that's kind of what's been the most popular format because it was the standard for so long. And that contains not just the packet data itself, but also things like timestamp information. So if you go into a packet and look at the header information encapsulated there, you'll see that there's not timestamp data stored within the packet itself. That wouldn't really make a lot of sense. So that file data actually gets stored within the file itself, along with some other basic metadata that helps you to perform analysis, right? So PCAP files, the more traditional and what you'll see referenced in a lot of places, whereas PCAP-NG is a little bit newer and allows some extended functionality. Particularly, it allows for some really great things like packet comments, so the ability to, at least within Wireshark, to right-click into a packet, add a comment, and that comment will be saved and stored with the file, which is really nice. Extended timestamp precision, so going to a few extra decimal places there, which can be useful, especially for high-performance applications when you need to discern the exact order packets were received in. Some additional capture statistics, and also name resolution information. And we'll talk about name resolution more in detail in a dedicated section later. But it actually stores that name resolution information with the packet capture NG file, which is different from typical PCAP files, which previously did not store that data. So you were having to resolve names every time you open the file, which didn't really work well if you're taking packet captures out of the network they were captured from and into another one. So all these things are really helpful, and they really designed to add more analysis flexibility to the format, right? Certainly the format could just capture the packet data itself, but that wouldn't be entirely useful because we really do need timing data. And once you get used to using it, things like comments and capture statistics and name resolution information can be really helpful as well. So functionally, for the most part, Wireshark and a lot of these other tools are going to open PCAP and PCAP-NG files just the same. But be aware that if you use some older tools, not every tool is going to support the PCAP-NG file format. You'll run into a couple that don't. But that's okay. I think most of the ones you'll run into, and every tool we're going to use in this course specifically will support PCAP-NG file format. So that's why all the course materials I provided you are going to be .pcap-ng files, because it allows all this extended functionality, and that's really the newer up-to-date standard. So I'll still refer to these as PCAP files. So when we talk about packets.pcap, I'm actually referring to PCAP-NG, but just saying PCAP is kind of the shortened way of referring to a packet capture file. Although some people use a few different things. Some will actually just call it a packet capture. Some will call it a packet trace or a trace file. But these are all synonyms for really this file that we're talking about that stores packets and metadata that we'll use to examine here. So real quickly, I just want to show you how you might go about converting a PCAP-NG file over to a PCAP file should you run into an application that doesn't necessarily support PCAP-NG. So let's say you're running an application and it doesn't, for whatever reason, it's throwing an error, it can't read your file, or it's jumbled up or something like that. If that's the case, you can actually use Wireshark to convert the file over. I know we haven't talked about saving files yet, but this is pretty easy, so I'll go ahead and show it to you. So if you ever need to do this, you can just reference back to this as needed. But in this case, I just have a file called packets.pcap-ng. So I'm just going to go ahead and open that in Wireshark. You see it's a pretty simple file. It's just an HTTP request here. But what I'll do is I'll click on File, and I'll click on Save As. And then I'll just change the file format. So you see here at the bottom we have save as type, and it's set to PCAP-NG. I can actually go here one below, and PCAP is the very next option. So I have that available, as well as a few other different varieties of capture format. I mentioned CAP and PCAP-NG. There are quite a few others that are used a lot of times by very specific tools. Honestly, I don't find myself really ever using almost any of these, but certainly we can use this now to change this to PCAP. So I'll just click on PCAP here. give it a name. I'll just call it packets again. So this will be packets.pcap instead of packets.pcapng. I'll save that and I'll look over in my file, and sure enough, we have packets.pcap. So you can use both of these. You see there's a little bit of a difference in file size. The pcapng is 6.45 KB and the pcap is 6.22 KB. Obviously, the pcapng is storing a little bit more information there than just the pcap file. But nonetheless, this is a really quick way to convert them if you need to. It's something inherent into Wireshark, and several other tools will probably have this capability as well. But this is good to keep in mind should you run into a situation where you need a PCAP file because the tool you're using will not read PCAPNG. Nonetheless, all the tools we're going to use in this course will read PCAPNG, so you shouldn't need this immediately for this course as you proceed through it.